Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mary Elizabeth Jones's Variety Hour.
Yes. Again? Again? How often do we do this show? Almost every week. I used to do a show. Oh, by the way, my name's Kaye Lazar. I'm our special guest, special guest pundit today.
Yes,
Anyway, I used to do a show where the host said we should do this every day. I think he would have wanted a 24-hour camera following him all the time and then edit it down to a few minutes every day. It's true.
yeah,
True. I let's see. It is just wonderful to be here today. It is
yes,
we're dressed down a little bit. I think we're gonna go swimming again.
yes.
We had such a good time swimming last week. We're
Oh,
gonna do it
yes,
again.
it was
So
great. Yeah,
yeah. I'm like I joked last week. I'm like a superhero, just ready to go in the swimming pool.
yes,
I let's see. I well, let's see. So you've been, I understand you've been doing some history on traffic lately.
yes, I have.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Um, people used to make a big deal of pronouncing Powhatan Parkway.
White Parkway.
Yes,
Yeah, I still don't know how
and
to pronounce it.
yeah, and some people think you should say Powhite
Yeah.
instead of Powhite, but I've always called it Powhite. So
Yeah. There's a comedian. His name is Eddie. Um, he's a black comedian.
Eddie Griffin.
Eddie Griffin.
Yes.
Eddie Griffin.
Yes.
I saw him when he came to the Coliseum. It was a great show. It had like a 4 or 5 comedians, and
Right.
Cedric was there,
Yes.
and
Cedric the Entertainer, right?
and yeah, and guy, my head's well, who's the guy? George Lopez was
Right.
there,
Yes.
and a few others were there.
Uh huh.
Hughley, D.L. Hughley.
Yes.
But Eddie Griffin's joke was the best, and it was one of the few clean jokes those guys told the whole night. But one of them, the one he said, this sure is a white town, Richmond, isn't it? said, said, yeah, yeah. He goes, yeah, I came over here on a street just named for you people. He goes, the Po White Parkway.
Oh
Eddie
Lord.
Griffin's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. I like
And
him.
still haven't figured it out. You know, I remember when they were building that. It took forever to build it.
Yeah, it was built back in 1973.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
But it took years before that.
Yes.
I don't know whether it started there or ended there or whatever, but took a while. Oh, if you haven't already guessed, this is yogurt time.
Yes. There's a really good yogurt. It's called Chobani Coconut Vanilla
Well, yeah, well,
Blended.
it's coconut. Yeah.
It's
Unless
really
I hope
good.
they send us a case of it. I got no, black cherry.
Yeah, that sounds good too.
Let me
So,
tell you something. We got I've been looking at. They say the COVID-19 will get worse, and people are getting unhealthier, and people aren't exercising, and people aren't going outside, and people aren't drinking enough water, and that is why we're trying to promote healthiness on the show by
exactly.
eating yogurt. Yogurt is a great food.
Exactly.
How
I
often do you eat
love it.
yogurt?
I eat it sometimes, like when we get it.
Yeah, I eat yogurt every day, and I'll tell you when I eat yogurt.
I
You're gonna
love
love it.
yogurt. I love it.
Everybody likes yogurt.
Yeah, of course.
It you
Uh huh.
gotta figure it out though. Not every I don't like every flavor of yogurt. My dad introduced yogurt to me when I was a kid, and he goes, "This tastes just like ice cream." Well, it tastes kind of like ice cream.
Well, I
It's
would
not as
say,
good as ice cream, but
yeah,
but it's probably better for
I
you.
would say it's like a vegan, healthier way of eating ice cream. It's like a healthier version of ice cream.
Well, there is milk in it, so it's not altogether vegan. However, what you're eating is the non-dairy version,
Oh
so
yes.
that would be vegan. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. I like
And
it.
um
So.
and um I tend to like blueberry. I got black cherry here only because I don't want to get the gout.
Mhm.
Black cherries are good for the gout.
Yeah, yeah.
I have friends who have the gout.
Mhm.
Believe it or not.
I think my grandfather had it.
Yeah, all the men I know that live the high life get the gout. All the men with the rich food and the prime rib and the,
Yeah.
and the and the Chateaubriand
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
and the clarets and
Right.
the wine and everything, and they just love their uh, and so a friend of mine had the gout, and he said, well, what's good for it? So he looked it up, and his doctor told him that black cherries were, or
Mm.
Bing cherries, I think it was, and which I think are black cherries. And so and it's a buildup of uric acid in your
Mm.
body, and it hurts your joints and everything. And thus, but if you notice in like Charles Dickens and stuff like that, like Uriah Heep, I think has the gout, and some guy with a top hat and a
Yeah.
and a frilly shirt and a
Right.
cane and a young wife, and
Right.
all those
Right.
guys, they all have the gout. So
Right. Right.
now normal people are getting it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we try to promote healthiness on this show, and
Right.
and um and I was so that's why I'm also drinking something really weird. It is coconut water. You got the coconut yogurt. I got the coconut water.
Yes.
When I was a kid, coconut was this stuff you never ate.
I love coconut.
Well, yeah, yeah. But
Yeah. I mean.
we were under the impression that coconut was full of fat and the coconut oil was terrible for you.
Mhm.
And now it's this thing that people love. And now it's weird about what doctors tell you.
Mhm.
Uh, one month they say something is good for you, and then the next month they say it's bad for you. It used to be like bacon and eggs was good for you, and
Yeah.
now it's bad for you.
Yeah.
You know. And then when I was a kid, liver and onions was good for you. Now it's bad for you, which is fine. I don't really miss liver that much. But coconut, for one thing, when I was a kid, it was hard to open a coconut, and then you get that little water in it,
Yeah.
and that was good. But I once drank a whole thing of that, thinking it was like a juice,
Right.
but it was something like baking coconut oil or
Yeah.
coconut,
Yeah.
and I thought I was gonna have a heart attack, and then I heard that coconut oil is they even made a big fuss that a lot of popcorn was made in coconut oil and it wasn't good for it, and now they're saying it is good for you.
Yeah.
So you ask your doctor. It's a good idea when you go for your yearly checkup, which we all do, or people who watch the show should do.
Right.
You go for your annual checkup and you ask your doctor, well, is this good for me? Is that good? That's the time you ask all the questions. So I said, well, like, say, for example, like bacon and eggs or something like that. It said, well, I read a study, it's not good for you, or coconuts are not good for you, or anything stuff. And the doctor said to me, don't pay too much attention to these studies because what was good for you, things don't really change a whole lot. So you could do any study that says something is bad for you now, or something that used to be bad for you is now good for you.
Right.
The only thing they pretty much hard liquor is never good for you.
Yeah.
I've never seen a study that says it's good for you. And the other one is smoking cigarettes. I've never read anywhere that was good for you.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But my doctor told me that if you eat properly 90% of the time, you're doing pretty good.
Right.
So I always have that cheat day. Well, let me tell you about yogurt. Yogurt to me is like this. My dad introduced it to me. He goes, I don't like you eating ice cream all the time. It's not good for you. It's full of fat. It's
Yeah.
full of
Yeah.
ice cream is good for you if you're like starving.
Yeah.
If you look like Boney Maroney, you
Yeah.
start eating ice
Yeah.
cream. It might fill you up a
My
bit.
mom introduced me to yogurt as well,
Yeah,
and she had to kind of the same way as your dad did.
yeah. What
Very
what
easy.
flavor did you like?
I like the strawberry.
Yeah.
I like the blueberry
Well, I was introduced the first
and
time
the key lime. I
the
love the
key
key
lime.
lime. Yeah.
First time I was introduced to yogurt, it was blueberry. And at that point, I hadn't eaten a lot of blueberries in a while because
Mhm.
blueberries, you can't really eat blueberries like candy. Like
Right.
it kind of can rough up your system. To me,
Right.
2 handfuls of blueberries a day, which is what I eat.
Right.
And I love blueberries. Now you can eat blueberries all year round.
Right.
But this blueberry yogurt, I never tasted anything that tasted so good. And then I started, well, I can't just eat blueberry yogurt. I
Right.
got to, what if they run out of blueberry? I got to
Right.
get something else.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
strawberry and then you start to like other ones.
Yes.
I tend not to like plain yogurt. Somebody told me the best yogurt to get is just plain yogurt and then add your own berries to it.
Yeah.
So anyway, but when I was a kid, I remember my mom. We had my sisters and I had to run around the house in a race. I think they were trying to tire us out. And every time the winner would get a spoonful of yogurt that my mom was eating. Oh, here's a spoonful. That goes to the winner. After a while, I got tired of eating the yogurt, so my mom just gave to my sisters and stuff. Same spoon. It was a loving cup, a loving spoon.
Loving spoonful.
A loving spoonful.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what that means.
Like the rock and roll group back in the 60s.
That's right. You know how they got their name? Look it up. Look it up. It's not pretty. Even though it's a nice name for a band, it means something else. But anyway, I can tell you about the Loving Spoonful in a moment. But anyway, so it was prune yogurt. I don't think I've ever seen. I haven't seen prune yogurt in years.
Really?
It used to be you got plain and prune were the only flavors, and then they branched out and got all these other flavors. So now you can pretty much make anything out of yogurt. There's cheese yogurt, which is basically, and okay. So I used to bring yogurt to school, like I was a teenager when I was introduced to it, and I was always people, when a man eats yogurt, like me, you get the craziest looks, like you're some sort of weirdo. Maybe I told that to somebody and said, well, the people look at you as a weirdo. It's not because you ate yogurt.
Right.
That's just one of many facets. Anyway, and they would actually give me speeches. These were actually, I had friends that actually went to one guy went to Princeton, one guy went to Duke, one guy went to Harvard, and they all had a lecture for me about what was in yogurt. There are active bacteria in there, and it wreaks havoc in your body. And that's, oh, really? How about that? Thank you. And they tell me that. And then I found that yogurt is basically made a pretty simple way. It's not made like cheese. It's made, I think they just add lemon juice and they sift through it and all. There's a little bit of aging going on. I have yogurt in my refrigerator that's been there for months.
Yeah.
I buy all my yogurt on sale and then it just piles up. In fact, you look at my refrigerator, that's all you're going to see is yogurt.
Oh, yeah.
I eat about one a day. And I can't buy I guess a food hoarder of yogurt because I hate to be without yogurt. Okay. So I have all this yogurt and so I found that I like to eat it. It's the greatest snack in the world between lunchtime and dinner if you're at work, like 3 or 4 o'clock, and you're hungry, but it's still a few hours before you eat dinner, but you have to eat something. And it's better than eating a candy bar or a soda, which is no good for you. Yeah. And so they would give me all these speeches about yogurt, and they were so far off the mark. I think I mentioned once before that there was a movie called Parental Guidance with Billy Crystal and his daughter. He was taking care of his grandchildren. His daughter wouldn't let the kids eat ice cream cake because they only eat yogurt. And he goes, well, I bought them an ice cream cake for their birthday and everything. No, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that. And we're going to take it away. And when they turned around, the little girl who had never had ice cream before had her face down, and she was just kind of swimming in the ice cream cake. Goes, Mom, you told me this was as good as yogurt. It is not as. It is so much better. One of the funniest things I ever saw in a movie. Well, anything with Billy Crystal, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I like him. He's funny.
I've been so anyway, you have these studies, and your doctor will tell you, like I mentioned, bacon, eggs, or liver, or yogurt, or anything. They'll say, "Oh, it used to be bad for you, and now it's good for you. What used to be good for you is now bad for you." But once the dust settles on a lot of these studies, then we realize, yeah, well, that is good for you. Do you remember the Atkins diet?
I've heard about it.
The Atkins diet was a diet where people just ate meat all the time. and they didn't eat any bread, and they didn't eat any vegetables, and they certainly didn't eat anything else. I remember, and they would lose weight on it.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
but did it sound like a healthy diet? Just eating meat all the time?
No.
You know, losing weight is fine in the short term, but you can't keep up a diet like that. You
Yeah.
can't just eat meat all the time. I mean, a lot of these people, were losing weight on it,
Yeah.
and they and also they control the portions or something. And I always joke that if you had a mayonnaise and chocolate bar diet, you could probably, if you made the portion small enough, you could probably lose weight on that. But eating
Right.
mayonnaise and Snickers bars all day is not going to make it be a healthy diet. So you lose all this weight on the Atkins diet, and but like I think as long as the people lost the weight, and then once they kind of once they realized it wasn't a healthy diet, it kind of lost kind of favor.
Right.
So I always tell people when they lose weight that on a diet, I tell them losing weight is the easy part. The the hard part is keeping it off.
Right.
So that's so you have to do that, and so I so you have to almost like rethink while you're losing weight. Use that time losing weight to
Right.
rewire your brain and say, okay, well, as soon as I finish eating all this yogurt and broccoli and everything and
Right.
bottled water and
Right.
everything, I'll go back to eating ice cream and Snickers bars and and
Right. Right.
Coca-Cola and stuff,
Right.
and
Right.
then you gain all the weight back.
Right. Yeah.
So you have to kind of think, well, I can't keep up
Yeah.
the diet, so I gotta. In fact, some people say never diet. You should
Yeah.
just rethink the whole way of eating. A nutritionist. I think, and also don't lose weight very fast. I think there are two people who lost weight really at the same time, and one was a little better at losing it than the other. Oprah, if you remember, took out a wagon. She drank all those Slim Fast shakes and
Yeah.
everything. She took out like 65 pounds of fat in a wagon. Said, "This used to be me." And then within like a year or so, she gained it all back because she went back to her old eating. She thought that losing the weight was the easy part. She was wearing that black turtleneck, if you remember.
Yeah.
And then the other one was around the same time. Dolly Parton lost weight, but she did it like very slowly, like over 2 years. Every time you saw her on a talk show or a variety show, she got a little better looking, and then to the point where she looked great. And then you want it's a long game. You have to getting in shape is a long
Right.
game. You can't do a shortcut or do a fast track to anything.
Yeah.
But today's a good day to start getting in shape and getting it. So this is the summer. I just love the summer
Yeah. Me
because
too.
everyone is wearing less clothes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone is outside.
Right.
Being outside is very healthy.
I love being
Yeah, yeah,
outside.
yeah.
I love getting out and doing
I
things.
hate air conditioning, and I love being outside.
Yeah. I mean, I do love air conditioning when I'm inside.
Well, I
Yeah. I mean.
well, you see, I grew up in a world of sports cars, convertibles, and motorcycles and bicycles, and thus who needs air conditioning?
Yeah.
Actually, to be honest with you, when I was growing up, I was more of an interior guy than now.
Yeah.
And I think it's all flipped with my friends. They used to always play outside and stuff because actually it was cooler outside. There was no air conditioning when I was a kid,
Yeah.
so maybe a little bit, but not like it is now.
Yeah.
And thus, you go in a store, you go in a restaurant, everything was hot. You had
Yeah.
fans blowing everywhere. So now when I'm outside, I feel at home.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
and like what you're talking about the Powhatan Parkway. What other roads did you go on?
Yes, I went on Chippenham Parkway.
Do you
It,
remember when that was built?
it was back in 1958.
Oh,
Yeah, and
that was during like the Civil War, I think.
yeah.
The horse and buggy
I
days.
also grew up riding through 95 and 64 and
Hmm.
295, 195.
You said 58?
Yeah,
Yeah. A
yeah,
lot of that was built after World War II.
yeah.
A lot of that stuff was built after World War II.
Right,
It wasn't built
right,
in the wasn't built. See, after World War II, they actually built the interstate system
right.
so people could get out of the cities really fast
Yeah.
rather than go through the
That's
roads.
why they call it the freeway.
It's the freeway. It's the freeway out of there. And we were so fearful that the Russians would drop a bomb on us, and with little time that we built all that stuff and built all and as a result, America has a great interstate system.
Right.
There's no red lights on it.
Right. Exactly.
You can go, as fast as you could go. Sometimes 55, sometimes 65, sometimes a little more than that. That is, and those roads remain.
Yes. Yeah.
And they don't have that in the old in the old cities like in Europe and stuff. You basically have the I think ancient Rome had good roads. They had the Appian Way.
Yes.
And then you had the Silk Road going to China. And all of them. I mean, but these are different types of roads. Yeah,
Right.
they had to build, I think, those roads in Rome around Seven Hills.
Right.
To get around when they were.
Right. Right.
These were all like chariots and
Yeah.
horse and buggies and stuff. And
Yeah.
what I remember. Do you remember like the billboards on those roads?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a one billboard that was like printed back in the early 2000s.
Yeah. What was it?
It was about how do you pronounce Powhatan Parkway.
Oh, was that on a billboard?
Yes. Yes. And I think it said something like um, if you get to know us, we'll get to know you, or
Oh
something
yeah.
like that. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
by First Market Bank.
Oh, it was a bank. Oh, it was a bank ad, but they
Yeah,
made a joke
yeah,
about the
they made
Powhatan
like a
Park.
joke about it.
Yeah.
They say it's it's Powhite instead of Powhite.
Oh, how's it pronounced? Powhite?
Powhite.
Powhite.
Yeah,
Pow and height.
yeah.
We hit the heights with your pow.
But I'm used to saying Powhite, so
Powhite.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should say what's proper, but until everyone starts saying pow height, I was just gonna I'm gonna talk
Right.
because you don't want to be that guy who insists on grammar.
Yeah. And Powhite Parkway was called um Interstate 76.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what I remember? You ever been to a place called Powhatan?
No. No, I
Like
haven't.
Powhite,
Is there such a place?
Powhatan, Powhatan? You ever heard of Powhatan?
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I met the chief.
I have some family members in Powhatan.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I met the chief. It's an Indian place.
Oh yeah.
Originally an Indian place, and most like half the names of places in America are named after Indians.
Yes.
And Native Americans. So I met Chief Powhatan, and he said it's pronounced Powhatan, but everyone else, like you said, with Powhite, everyone else pronounces it Powhatan, which is wrong.
Yeah.
And I said Powhatan, so I said, well, I guess I'll start calling it Powhatan. He says it's very easy to remember. I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, you've heard of Manhattan in New York. I said, yeah. Well, it's just like that. It's just with instead of man, it's a Powhatan.
Yeah.
I said,
Well,
oh, and that's an Indian place too.
that's
The Manhattan
interesting.
Indians.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny how Chicago, Richmond, and places like that
Right.
around it. Not a whole lot of Indian names, but a lot of the street names might be Indian names.
I think
So
the Powhite was
it's probably a
made
guy's name. Yeah.
made from Indians. I
Might
think.
be Indian. Yeah.
Yeah.
American Indians. And so so I remember billboards. I remember a billboard when I was a kid. And this is kind of scary billboard. It was for Esso, or it used to be Exxon used to be called Esso. Esso stands for Standard Oil,
Yes. Yes.
run by the Rockefellers.
Right.
Rockefellers were the richest people who ever lived.
Right.
If you count the money they made to the economy, they actually had, I think, 1 or 2% of the gross national product, which you think of rich people today like Bezos or Bill Gates or something. They don't have that much compared to what he had for like in the Depression
Right.
or before that. And so they had their mascot was a tiger, the Esso Tiger.
Mhm.
And they would put this giant tiger on billboards. And when you're a little boy and you see this giant tiger smiling at you,
Oh,
I was scared
wow.
of it.
Wow.
So I would hide my face really down. and people thought it was fun. Hey, look at the billboard. What type of man are you?
Yeah.
I'm a 4-year-old boy. I'm scared.
Some
Yeah.
of the billboards were scary when I was a kid
Yeah. What was
too.
the another one? What was your scary one?
There was a couple of them that were kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
There was a billboard that used to be off of Belt Boulevard.
Yeah.
When you come over that,
Yeah.
when you come off of Midlothian down to the,
Yeah.
you know, to that hill thing,
Yeah.
to the
What was the
billboard.
billboard?
It was called, it was a message from God or something like
Oh
that.
yeah, those ones are weird
Oh
for
yeah,
religious
yeah.
people. Yeah.
It was just a dark screen with the God, with the words on it.
Yeah. God wants you to go home right now or something. And it is scary if you're
Yeah,
driving and you
yeah,
see that. Oh, I
yeah.
can see a person who doesn't who's in a very
Right. Like if,
vulnerable situation, like
yeah,
maybe
like
like
if you're not saved.
well, if you're not
Yeah,
not so much that, but even if you're having a bad day
yeah,
and
yeah.
you're driving, oh gosh, I don't want to say that. I just want to go home and go to bed.
Right, right.
So anyway, so yeah, I've seen those billboards, and I remember there was a billboard of I think it was a billboard not in Richmond, but in I heard about it. It was like a Dolly Parton. We were talking about Dolly Parton, and you know what Dolly Parton,
Right,
pretty
yeah.
woman and everything, and nice figure and everything,
Uh-huh.
and people were getting such a good look at this billboard that there was all these crashes or near misses, a lot of car accidents, and people were slowing down to look at it. And they finally had to take it down because the police said it was dangerous having that billboard at a busy intersection. It was this tiger though was so scary to me that I took a trip when I was 4 years old to New York, and we're going through Virginia to New York.
Yes,
I guess it was I-95. We go through Pennsylvania,
yes.
and there was this big, and there's billboards everywhere. So I said, oh
Oh
good,
yeah.
I don't see any Esso Tigers, so that must be good. And we must have gone through like an oil refinery or oil where all these
Yeah.
oil tanks were. And I'm not kidding you, I'm in the back seat asleep, and I wake up and I want to know where I am, and I turn around out and look out the back window. My dad's driving the car. I look out the back window, and that tiger is just huge, on
Wow.
the bigger than any billboard. It was on the side of a tank,
Wow.
a big like a water tank, but it
Mm.
was filled with so gasoline, I'm sure. So I look at this and I literally fainted. But the craziest thing was I was never scared of tiger again because once I met my fears, now I like celebrate the Esso Tiger because it's one of those things that's a symbol in my life.
Right.
That I was able to overcome.
Right.
I can
Yeah.
overcome that at 4 years old. I can overcome anything at
Yeah.
45 years old.
Yeah.
Like even the fear of eating yogurt on TV. I was always afraid someone was going to see me with spitting it out, and that's why that's why we started eating it before we started filming this, because I didn't want anyone catching me accidentally licking the top,
Right.
licking the wrapper. It's
Right.
not a pretty look. You could do it when
Right.
you're not on television, but
Right. There's other like billboards that was kind of
yeah.
creative.
What else?
There was a one billboard where they had a person's face and the mouth was all sealed up.
Oh yeah, yeah. See, when you're a kid, you cannot distinguish reality from what's not.
I forgot what the poster was
So when you
about,
see
but
something like that, you believe it.
yeah.
Someone There was a commercial once on television for Carrier air conditioning. They're going to
Oh,
talk about air conditioning, and they were saying how installing the central air will save you money. And they showed people just grabbing dollar bills out of their central air.
oh yeah,
So my niece didn't really know anything
yeah,
about that,
yeah.
but she saw the commercial. So I did like a little magic trick. I had all these dollar bills
Oh
in my
yeah.
other hand, and I was like taking them out of the. She actually went into the house and got a bucket and said, "I'm going to get all the money I can out of this thing." And my mom said, "What are you doing? What are you teaching these kids for?" I said, "Oh, man, I didn't realize she would. I just was doing a magic trick. I didn't think she would think that there was money actually coming out of the air conditioning system." We have right here a Ouija board,
Oh yeah.
something kids love to play with.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Now, let me tell you about Ouija boards. Um, a lot of people, swear by them. They give you good luck, they give you bad luck. Kids at the slumber parties
Yeah.
use them and all this stuff. It was invented, I think in 1910 or something by a company out of Baltimore. And
Oh,
then they sold the rights to it or went into the public domain, and a lot of other companies make them now.
right.
But there's plenty of Ouija boards, and you see a lot of them at Halloween. You see them, a lot of them in these things. Um, and And a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to have anything to do with that Ouija board. It's bad luck, or it's going to give me bad, they're evil, they're
Yeah.
possessed by the devil, all this stuff. And every year, this toy company, the heirs, the great grandchildren of the guy of the company that invented the Ouija board, has to issue a statement that says, "It's a toy. It's a children's toy. It has no superpowers, and please do not think that we're." I think they were probably gotten a lot of trouble because a lot of people said, "Well, I played your Ouija board and I got 50 years of bad luck because of you, so I want your millions of dollars." No, 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 no. It's a toy. It's a toy.
Yeah.
So you always, you gotta, think these things through. That not everything is magic, not everything. Almost everything that you see today, I'll tell you another example. The church you have to have three miracles to be a saint, and for the Pope to make you a saint,
Yeah.
canonize you.
Right.
And in the day when there were a lot of saints, it was very easy to prove miracles,
Right.
if that's the truth.
Yeah.
But now it's harder to say that there's no explanation why a miracle has been granted, because there's always a scientific way to find out.
Right.
There was when I was a kid, I was told all this time about, I think it was in France or something. There was this blood from like biblical times, maybe Jesus' blood or something, and it was all dried up. And then on like Easter or something, it would all plump up to look like
Oh,
real blood, and then the
wow.
next day, Easter Monday, I guess, it would go shrivel up again. And
Oh,
and this was a miracle. And then I think in about 40 years ago, someone was like taking care of this thing, and they nudged it, and it all plumped up again. It was a magic trick.
oh, wow. Wow.
Shroud of Turin
Wow.
has been they thought the Shroud of Turin was from 2,000 years ago, but actually it was something created in, I think, Avignon in 1400s or something. I don't know
Yeah.
when it was, but so there's you have to really think through these things. That's why you never see me make a big fuss about statues or icons. In the Ten Commandments there are I believe in
Right.
statues, icons. Just pray to God
Right.
and and hope for the best. Speaking of saints, like I said, it's very hard to get miracles proven. So what they do now is there's some miracles you can't prove. One is like healing of the sick. You know, say a person is dying, and they go to Lourdes, and the waters wash their way. Also the healing of the hands. These things do happen, or no explanation for it. I'm not saying it's magic, but there's no. So those are legitimate miracles to grant sainthood. There was recently, they wanted to make Grace Kelly a saint,
Oh, wow.
and the movie star. It was a very fine Princess Grace of
Yeah.
Monaco, and I think they said, well, she went to a hospital once and people got better. So, oh, okay,
Yeah.
you're a saint. Also, if you're a martyr like Joan of Arc or somebody, or Sir Thomas More,
Mhm.
someone who dies for their faith, are that's now the fast track to canonization. It's very if you pinpoint miracles, it's getting a little harder and harder and harder to do that.
Yeah.
It used to be miracles were kind of wild things, like if you sat up on I think Saint Simon, he sat on a pole,
Wow.
on a flagpole for like
Wow.
40 years or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if you made a saint out of that guy.
Right.
He's kind of a weird guy if he did that. If he did that today.
Right. Right.
But like I said, you just gotta. Yeah, we're going great. Anyway, thanks for having me. You want? Let's
Absolutely.
do another a half of a show,
Yes,
half of a
yes.
comedy hour.
Yes, thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you in a little bit. We're going to take a break right now. God bless you.